our very first art lesson. Okay, so I just read to you the story called Lines That Wiggle, and in the story we learned all about the different kinds of lines. Okay, we learned that lines are everywhere. Okay, lines are very, very important, and we may not notice, all of the different lines around us. Okay, but especially in art, lines are important. We use them a lot. Okay, so that's why our first lesson is going to be all about lines. So we're going to be reviewing our lines, and we're going to be practicing drawing different kinds of lines. Okay, so to get started, you're going to need a white blank piece of paper. Okay, if you have other paper, that is fine. Normal paper, notebook paper, construction paper, or if it's even another color, that's okay too. I want you to use whatever you have available to you. Okay, so back to my example. Okay, we also talked about art materials, right? What kind of art materials are there? Okay, so we're going to be using, I'm going to be using markers. Okay. And I'm going to be using my crayons, okay? So these are the materials I chose to use, but if you want to use something different, you can. You are more than welcome to use anything else that you have available to you, okay? These are just what I'm choosing to use, but if you want to use these, go for it, okay? So I want to go over a few things. So before I start, you do not have to use the same colors as me. If you want to use your own colors, or pick your own colors, then you can do that too. So you do not have to do the same colors as me, okay? You can pick your own, okay? I do encourage you to practice the same lines that I'm doing. Just that way you can start learning the names of the lines, okay, and learning how to draw the different kinds of lines, okay? But if you want to choose your own, if you want to do your own different type of line, then you are also more than welcome to do that too, okay? Also, another thing is that if at any time, boys and girls, I'm moving too fast, you can always stop and pause it, and then maybe play catch up, okay? Or work at your own pace, okay, boys and girls? So you can either do the lesson with me and pause it when you need to, or you can just sit back and watch the whole video on your own and then do the lesson. It's up to you, okay? So I'm going to start with my new piece of paper, my blank sheet. Now, another thing is your lines or your paper can go straight up and down, okay, like a vertical line, okay? So my lines would start at the top, okay, and they're going to go all the way across, and I'm going to work my way down. Okay, so your paper can be straight up and down if you want, or it can be sideways, okay, and your lines can go all the way across, okay. That means your lines will be longer, okay, but it's completely up to you, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out my first color, okay, I'm going to pick turquoise, okay. Now, remember, you can choose your own color, a different color. Now, I'm going to start at the top of my paper, not at the bottom, okay. I want to start at the top, all right. And I'm going to start with my first line, and I'm going to start from the left side, so left to right, okay. Like when we're reading, we read from left to right, okay. And this first line is called a loop-de-loop line. Okay, so I'm going to try to go as slow as I can. That way you guys can really watch and pay attention to how I'm drawing my loop-de-loop line. Okay, and I went all the way across my paper. Okay, so now it's your turn. Like I said, you can pause my video, okay, if you would like. All right. Alright, next color I'm going to use is purple, okay, and I'm going to make a wavy line, alright, so this one, again, I'm going to go slow, I'm going to make a wavy line, okay, kind of reminds me of hills, mountains, or maybe like the ocean, maybe the water, okay, Are your lines going to look like my lines? No, not at all. Okay, because we're all different. And you guys are learning how to make lines. Okay? So just give yourself some time and be patient. Okay? All right, this next line is called a dashed line. I'm going to move my paper a little bit. And I'm going to make some dashes. These are really short horizontal lines. Okay? And they remind me of the road, okay, or a street. Okay, so all the way across, make me some dashes. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, okay? I'm on my 5th line, okay? So this next line is a little bit of a challenge. This one you really want to take your time on and be patient, okay, boys and girls? This one is called a castle line, okay? There's a couple steps to it, okay? So just watch as I make my castle line. All right. So now your turn. Go nice and slow. Okay, maybe go to the side, up, to the side, back down, to the side. All right, boys and girls? So that is called a castle line because it looks like a castle. All right. Wow. So I've got a little bit more space. So I'm going to make a horizontal line. And I'm going to make 2 horizontal lines. One line is going to be thick and one is going to be thin, okay? So it's going to, this first horizontal line, now this line goes all the way across, straight line, okay? So I'm just going to go like this, and I'm actually using the side of my marker, okay? So the tip, okay, if you use the tip of your marker, okay, your line's going to be really skinny. If you use the side of your marker like I've been doing, you're going to have thick lines. So this is a thick horizontal line. Now I'm going to point my marker down, and I'd like you to do the same. Point it down and go straight across again. Okay, do you see the difference between the 2 lines? Okay, one is thick and one is thin. Okay, so go ahead and practice making me your horizontal line. 2 of them, one thick and one thin. And we're almost done. I have a little bit of space. So, boys and girls, you may have more space than me. So maybe you drew your lines closer together. And so if you did that, then you have probably a lot more space and you can make more lines. Okay, so how lucky are you? So if you have a lot of space, then you can continue making more lines. Okay, boys and girls? So that's up to you. So if you, and also, or maybe you ran out of space. You're like, oh my gosh, Miss G, I don't have any more room. That's okay too. I just happen to have a little bit more room, so I'm going to add one more line, and this one is a dotted line. Okay? And I make a dotted line by making circles. Okay? And I try to spread them out. That way I don't make too many. Okay? So there's my dotted line. Okay, so go ahead and make me your dotted line. Okay? Alright, so we've got our lines. We've got our loop-de-loop line. We have our wavy line, zigzag line. Ooh, when you say zigzag, kind of tickles my mouth. Okay, and then we have our dash line, castle line, horizontal line. That's a big word. Horizontal, thick and thin. And we have our dotted line. So now we get to color. Alright, so I'm going to use crayons, and I'm going to match the color of the crayon to the color of my line as best I can. Okay, so I'm going to grab me a turquoise crayon, and I'm going to start to color in, and I'm going to do it the same way that I made my lines. I'm going to go side to side. Okay, now we are learning how to color nice and neatly. Okay, so we want to try to stay inside the lines. Okay, and I want to keep this color right here. I don't want to color down here or anywhere else, okay? a little tip is if you use the side of your crayon, okay, because remember, look, the tip is a little bit like the marker, okay, it's skinny, okay, but remember when I use the side of my marker, I can make some thick lines, so guess what, same thing with the crayon, okay, so if I use the side of the crayon, okay, I can make thick lines, but I can also color in, okay, a lot faster, and it's going to be a little bit smoother looking. Okay, so if you color this way, then you're going to get your coloring done a lot faster. It even looks a little neater. And then your hand doesn't also hurt as much, because you know when you color the other way, oh my goodness, then you got some aches and pains in your hands. Okay, so we don't want to do that to the crayon. Okay, so there we go. Look how fast that was, and I'll show you kind of close up how that looks. Okay, boys and girls, so there. Wow, that was super, super quick. All right, next color is purple. So again, I'm going to use the side of my crayon, whoops, and I'm going to color the side. There we go. And again, I try to just go side to side. That way it all looks the same, and it looks nice and neat. So I know that we're learning. You guys are still learning how to color. Okay? But like I said, practice makes perfect. The more we do it, the better we get. Oops. All right. So there's my purple. All right, guys. What color is next? All right. You said it. We got it. Red. Okay? So I'm going to use my red, and I'm just going to color. Now, boys and girls, as I'm coloring, remember, you can be coloring too. You can be working on your lesson as well. Like I said, you can pause the video. I know that you might get a little antsy watching me, and I don't blame you. I'm the same way. I have to kind of move around. You can even take a little break if you want to stretch a little bit, okay? And remember, you don't have to finish your lesson right now. You can work on it now and work on it again later, because I know you probably might have to log out soon and log into your classroom, so it's up to you, okay? All right, so there's my red, and now we need green. I'm actually using yellow green, so that's a lighter green. Kind of like a green apple or grapes. And this one I can do a little bit faster. Nice and smooth, because I'm using the side of my crayon. You can use the pointer part of your crayon too if you like. I think we all have just a different preference, whatever you prefer. Alright, so there's my green. And we have, next up, orange. This one I kind of have to go a little bit slower because of the type of line that it is. Okay, like down here, I have to go real slow and color a little bit smaller. Plus, there we go. Alright, next we have pink. We are almost done, boys and girls. It was a pretty quick lesson. Pretty simple, right? But I love drawing different types of lines. So my favorite line is actually a spiral line. One of my favorite little shapes, but we didn't get to draw. I didn't draw that line today, but I can show you that line later on. But that's one of my favorite lines. And another favorite line of mine are the rainbow lines. I said that in the story. That's one of my favorite lines also. Okay, there's my pink. And next up, we are actually, oh my goodness, we're at the very, very end. My last color is blue. Okay, so again, using the side, and sometimes I have to hold my paper steady. Okay, because right here, the corners like to kind of pop up at you, so I know that can get a little frustrating. So hold your paper down with one hand. Okay, keep it steady. Okay, so hold it down real strong. Okay, and then color. The way you hold it. Hold it steady. And you're going to have to do it again on this corner too. You have to hold it. And you also have to color a little bit softer so it doesn't mess up the paper. Alright. And there we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check my coloring. that I didn't leave any white spaces. Okay? So part of practicing and being a really, nice and neat at coloring is making sure that you filled everything in. There's no white spaces. Okay, so look, I filled everything in. Okay, no white spaces. Okay, nice and neat, side to side. Now, boys and girls, like I said, yours isn't going to look like mine. And mine isn't going to look like yours. Yours isn't going to look like the other students either because we're all different. And we're all learning, we're all growing and practicing. Okay, so be patient with yourself. All right, boys and girls? So that is our line art lesson, our very first lesson. I hope that you enjoyed it. Okay, now remember to take a picture of your artwork. You can either hold up your picture, your artwork, and take a picture with it so I can see your face, or you can just take a picture of it by itself. It's up to you. But don't forget to upload it and submit it in Schoology. Okay, boys and girls? So I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.